please make sure, if you listen to podcasts, make sure you listen to Dagwood Streets. He's awesome. I listen to his stuff all the time. He has a completely different perspective on electric scooters as well, because he's living in the desert, and, you know, like, he doesn't have to think about things like the rain and the cold, and well, maybe the cold, but certainly not the rain. I'm fairly certain it doesn't rain around Las Vegas. But if you haven't checked them out, Dagwood Streets.
Kind words from the scooter star from the north, who also apparently has very good taste in podcasts. That's right, it's Timothy West of Tim's Electric, the YouTube channel. And apparently, bad on me for not knowing this, because I've never advertised it, Tim has an Amazon, what's it called? I don't know if it's a sponsorship. What do you call it? You can go to Timothy West's Amazon page, and right there, you can buy all kinds of stuff related to two things near and dear to my heart, electric scooters. And I'm starting to get into cameras and filming myself and that kind of thing. It's kind of strange because I love the podcast and I love audio, but it's kind of like work. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing it. But when I do a video, there's so much that I don't know that I have to investigate and look up, try to research and figure out. I mean, there's lighting. Audio is just one component. You have the visual, you have camera angles, you have all this kind of stuff. And Timothy knows about all that kind of stuff. He's a professional. That's why his YouTube videos are so good. When I was researching for this episode, I noticed Timothy West of Tim's Electric had a new video out. What I was researching was top scooters of 2022. Last episode, I covered the electric scooter guides picks. And Timothy West is a little different in that Electric Scooter Guide is a huge organization. Well, I mean, I'm not saying they have a ton of people, but they have a bunch of people dedicated to researching every kind of scooter. Timothy, although I'm sure he has a team, he has some people helping him. Every scooter that he reviewed was a scooter that he rode personally around drop dead gorgeous Vancouver Island. You know what I just realized? If I sounded kind of strange or like I was almost shouting into the microphone, I was blasting the theme music into my ears as I was talking. That's kind of crazy. I never do that. Why would I do that? So if I sound a little breathless or a little hurried, I think my voice was competing with the song blasting in my headphones. I do like that song. It's called Understand You by Biorhythm. I don't know if that's available anywhere for sale or anything. My son composed it and performed it. And speaking of songs, it's kind of odd to me that as much as we talk about Timothy West and his channel, Tim's Electric, we did a song for Ginger on Wheels. We did a song for Zero to Epic. We did a song for Paul Somerville, but we haven't done a song for Tim West. Maybe we should remedy that this episode. Here's the song we did for Paul.
We got Paul. We got Paul, y'all. We got Paul from ESG. We got Paul. We got Paul, y'all. We got Paul from ESG. ESG.
And here's the song we did for Ginger.
From the Northwest, he rides the wolf. When it
comes to speed, he's not a cringer. He's got a DIY van. I'm telling you, he's the man. Everybody, it's Ginger! Now, those two are both completely originals by one Dagwood Streets. But the next one, I can't take credit for because it was Paul Somerville's Bay Area band, The Conspiracy. Buy their records. They're great. I just added some vocals. I know what you're thinking. He's just shouting 0 to epic into a microphone and adding some echoes. But hey, you try it, man. I just do the best I can. So I'm not guaranteed that my ode to Timothy West of Tim's Electric is gonna be any good, but let's give it a shot. You can find him on the tubes. His channel's not only for nudes. He's a shaker and a mover. He knows how to maneuver. Let's go for a scoot. We'll make it a boot. We won't even pollute this beautiful environment. He's the legend from the West. Tim's Electric is the best. He does it on a scooter. Way up in Vancouver. You can find him on the tubes. His channel's not only for news. He's a shaker and a mover. He can maneuver up in Vancouver. That's right, I'm talking about Timothy West. Channel, Tim's Electric. Why? Because he's riding electric scooters, that's why. Let's go for a boot. Stop on the way home and get some maple syrup. Don't forget your tooth. Maple syrup? Come on, man, that's racist. Heard any good jokes from Canada lately? I heard one. How do you get 50 Canadians out of a public swimming pool? Well, you say, hey everybody, shaker and please leave the swimming pool. Knows how to maneuver. Yeah, I apologize, Timothy, but my heart's in the right place, man. I'm trying to do a tribute to you. I'm just not a great singer or musician. Scoot. Don't pollute. Go for a boot. How about this for a campaign for electric scooters? Give a hoot. Don't pollute. Go for a boot. Give a hoot. Don't pollute. Go for a boot. Seriously, though, I apologize for the maple syrup thing. I listened to another podcast called the Bangkok Podcast. I like to travel in Thailand. And the host is from Canada. And he didn't feel insulted when a traveler brought him an entire case of maple syrup. That stuff's expensive. And did you know there's like a whole black market economy? There's people that are stealing maple syrup by the truckload and selling it because it's so valuable. That's a whole nother story. That's craziness. Here we are 11 minutes into the podcast, and we haven't heard a word from Tim yet. So let's hear Tim's tippy top scooters for the year 2022. I was going to paraphrase and add some different comments. Well, I still may do that. But as I was listening to it, I thought, why don't I just play Tim's words? He's more eloquent than I am at speaking words and stuff. So here he is, Tim West, in his own words.
This is my list, Tim's Electric's list of the best scooters of the last 12 months. Now, for a scooter to qualify for my list, it must be a scooter that I have actually tested out in the last 12 months. So there are going to be some scooters that I haven't reviewed. There are going to be some scooters that you think are going to be better. Make sure you put those down below. Which scooters have I missed? Which scooters should I be, reviewing in 2023? Get back to me, let me know.
And we come to my first interruption. When he says get back to me, go to his YouTube channel. The link for this video and another cool one I'm going to talk about later are in the podcast description.
Let's kick things off with the best commuter scooter of the year. And my pick this year, there were so many ridiculously good scooters out there for commuting. But I've got to tell you, as of late, the Apollo City Pro 2022 is my choice for the best commuter scooter of 2022.
When I first clicked on this video, I thought it was going to be about the Apollo Pro, but this is the Apollo City Pro. I had kind of bad vibes about the Apollo Pro because instead of an LCD, you're using your phone, which you can't do in Las Vegas because it's just too hot. Your phone will melt. Actually, it'll just shut down. So it's a no-go. So I was watching this video and saying, wow, that's actually a great scooter. Turns out it's the Apollo City Pro, not the Apollo Pro.
So moving on, next one is the best value electric scooter for this past 12 months. I'm going to go with the new KQi3 Max and the KQi3 Pro. Now the Pro I actually did receive first, and then I got the Max. The Max is pretty much the same scooter. It's just got a little bit of a bigger battery and it's got a little bit more range therefore. Plus it's a little bit more powerful. But other than that, they were terrific scooters for commuters, getting you around town. And they were, some of the deals I saw on Black Friday, some of the deals around Christmas, and I'm assuming coming forward in the next few months, some of the deals for the news scooters are going to be pretty amazing. So best value electric scooter of the year, new KQi3 Max and the KQi3 Pro.
Now forgive me for being a Budinsky. I'm not being rude to Tim or anything by cutting in here because he is speaking on a visual medium and this is an audio medium. So sometimes I might need to step in and make a comment or two because he's talking about a company called NIU, N-I-U, which in Chinese Mandarin means cow. So if you look at the logo, it looks like a cow's head. And it's pronounced like people on the East Coast of the United States say, now the news. Have you seen the latest news? So NIU, that's the way it's pronounced, N-I-U. In Chinese, that's how it's pronounced. You can pronounce it however you want, but I just wanted to clarify that. So you know what scooter he's talking about. NIU is the company. NIU.
Fastest scooter of the year. That award's going to go to the Wolf King GT Pro. That thing is so fast. Not only is it fast, but it's actually really quite comfortable at top speed. So I know there are other scooters out there. There are some big names out there that I've missed off the list. But in the last 12 months, that's the fastest scooter that I tried.
Did you hear what he said? Comfortable at top speed. The Wolf King GT Pro is also the best scooter, period, that I rode this year. Comfortable at top speed. It has those motorcycle front end shocks that just make it maneuverable, comfortable, fast, safe, and stable. So I love this pick by Tim.
Next up, best cruising scooter for the last 12 months. This is going to cover off three things. It's going to cover off the range. It has to be really decent range. It has to have a really good ride quality. And this is just something else. I needed to have a little bit of power as well. I need to be able to, get up some of the steeper hills, because when I'm cruising, I'm not necessarily just going from A to B. I'm probably going A to B to C to D to E to F, and there's probably a bakery involved as well. So I love a really good cruising scooter. And this year's winner, by far, from my experience, was the VIG Acer, the Max, the 60 volt version. It had dual 1000 watt motors and a big 22 amp hour battery, and I absolutely thought it was awesome. It had all the bells and whistles that I'm looking for in a long distance cruising type scooter. Let's go next. While we're talking about cruising around, let's go to off-road. What is the best budget off-roading scooter of the year? I'm going to go with the Splash Titan.
Again, this is one of those situations where you would have to see the video, because he said Splash Titan, SPLACH, and I didn't even know budget off-road was a category. So kudos for discovering this new category. I think it's kind of cool, and I never even heard of Splash, SPLACH.
I couldn't believe all that power, and the price point was ridiculous. Great suspension, plenty of power. It's a big guy approved scooter, but my goodness, the price point of that was phenomenal. So if you're looking for an off-roader that has a decent pricing on it, definitely look at the Splash Titan. Next up is the best lightweight scooter for a big guy, and the award this year is going to go to U-Scooter GT Sport. Love this thing. It's so light. The power to weight ratio on this thing is absurd. It's this tiny little scooter that takes my massive body around town, and it still goes up the hills. It's got a 700 watt motor at the back, and I'm just blown away by this thing. Takes me off to tennis throughout the year. Takes me off to a doctor's appointment. It'll take me off to the grocery store. Love this thing, and it folds up. It's super small, and I literally have some of them hanging up in my front hall. Before I continue on, let me just interrupt this part and just share with you some of my biggest disappointments of electric scooters for this past year.
This is kind of awesome that Timothy includes biggest disappointments. I like that. You don't see that on other scooter channels.
I'm looking here for scooters that were either slow, or the ride quality wasn't particularly good, or particularly maybe it wasn't a very smooth experience. I must say that manufacturers as a whole are really making some big, strong improvements. They're making small iterations, and they're making the biggest difference, I find, is in the IP ratings. A bunch of these electric scooters now coming out with higher and higher IP ratings, and to me that just makes an awful lot of sense, especially where I live on the Pacific Northwest. I would say the Nan Robot N6 was a miss, in my opinion. I found it just a little bit too, it just wasn't very smooth. It wasn't very refined. It did a bunch of things, it had a bunch of parts on it, if you like, that should have been making it a pretty awesome scooter. I just wasn't sold. It wasn't for this big guy. Maybe you have one and you love it. Hey, that's great. It just wasn't for me.
So what did I like? What didn't I like? Well, what I did like, power. It's got lots of power. And I think it's really designed for somebody who just wants instant power, doesn't mind the jerkiness. Like, it does feel in dual motor, especially in gear 3, like it's not smooth at all, but lots of power. So if that's for you, hey, that's great. It's not for me. It's not my style of scooting.
There were some clunky imports as well that I didn't review or even post about, or in fact didn't even accept delivery of in some cases, because I just looked at the numbers and I looked at what it looked like, and I thought, you know what, that's kind of being just piecemeal together. That's not for me. I don't even want to share those kinds of electric scooters with you. I want to share with you scooters that I am genuinely happy with. Maybe they've got a few little tweaks here. Maybe they're a little bit better here, a little bit better there. But man, some of these scooter companies now, they're really upping their game. As I mentioned, IP ratings are going up, and like VIG, for example. Have you seen their manual? Like, oh my goodness, you flip it, it's full color, it's got online videos. Like, some of these companies are just really upping their game over the last 12 months. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen over the next 12 months.
VIG scooters. I had not heard of them. VIG. Headquartered in Victoria, BC, Canada. The neighborhood is called Oak Bay. And I'm reading this directly from VIG's website because I had to look it up. Tim likes them a lot. We don't have them around here. It says residents of the city of Victoria will often see VIG scooters riding around on the mini bike paths here and the fantastic intra-neighborhood trails like the Galloping Goose. Yeah, I can vouch for that from Tim's videos. They have some nice places to scoot there. The Greater Victoria region is such a great place for scooter riding, given the amazing network of dedicated bike paths and trails and temperate year-round climate. It's 27 degrees Fahrenheit there right now. It's mid-40s here in Las Vegas at 10:30 at night. Although British Columbia boasts the highest per capita adoption of electric vehicles, a lot of people still have gas-powered cars, and Victoria suffers some of the most insane gas prices in North America. Electric scooters make a lot of sense for anyone with limited space to store a vehicle, a limited budget for transportation, or anyone that wants the freedom to get to work or to class without getting stuck in traffic or getting all sweaty. The VIG website then goes on to say something I find a little bit interesting because I didn't know it was true. Of course, electric scooters are great for those who care about doing their part to combat climate change and those who are seeking a lot more fun, and here's the part, and a lot less cost than riding an electric bike. Is that true? Are scooters far cheaper than riding an e-bike? I did not know that. Another thing that I found interesting on the webpage was they mentioned Timothy West. It says, our friend, photographer extraordinaire, and all-around great guy Tim West, who operates one of the more popular electric scooter and electric bike review YouTube channels, Tim's Electric, has just released his best of 2022 video. We were delighted and a bit surprised, given the incredible competition in 2022 from far more established players, to have received not just one, but 2 awards. Oh, did I blow something? Did he already say 2 of them? I thought it was just one of them. Maybe I blew it. All right. The VIG Acer, A-E-S-I-R, A-E-S-I-R, was his pick for best cruising scooter of 2022 due to the combination of great range, fantastic ride quality, and ample power for tackling almost any hill. For best dual motor scooter of 2022, I'm not going to say that because we didn't get to that part yet.
My kung fu skills are well regarded throughout the land, and I listen to the Electric Scooter Podcast.
Next up is the best single motor scooter, and I'm a big fan of the InMotion S1. It's got suspension, it's got a nice big battery, it's got nice air inflated tires, it's really comfortable, it doesn't go too fast. It gets me around town and it's comfortable. So for a single motor scooter, I really like the InMotion S1, and the price point I thought was pretty reasonable. I think it's a no-brainer. If you're looking for a dual motor scooter that's going to knock your socks off, I think the VIG Blade Pro is your scooter. It's amazing. And honorable mentions, just a couple of scooters that didn't quite make the list that are awesome scooters. That would be the Varley Eagle 1 Pro and the Apollo Ghost. Oh my goodness, I love that Ghost. It's been a scooter that I've been reaching for more and more often. I wasn't sure about it when I first got it. I thought, I wonder if this is going to be, better than this scooter or better than that scooter. And my goodness, it's been a lovely scooter for riding around the city and going up onto the trails as well. So I've been loving the Ghost, and I think you'll see me riding the Varley Eagle 1 Pro a lot more in the springtime. There were so many scooters to ride around on. I just didn't get a chance to put it through the paces too often. So I'll be doing range testing of that one as well. Most anticipated scooters for the next 12 months. I would be remiss if I didn't say the Apollo Pro. I mean, what are they going to do with the display? Is it going to be powerful enough? Is it going to be as refined and as pleasant to ride around on as the Apollo City? My goodness, that scooter is amazing. So I'm really excited to see what they're doing. Their quality control has been improved. I was just reading their president's report the other day, and they'd be making some absolutely amazing strides to really improve the quality of the products that they're shipping out with. The Synergy Cyclone, I've actually also just received that one, so I'm going to be putting that through the paces once the snow's gone away. And then the Vig Ursa. Oh my goodness, this blew my mind.
Blew your mind. OMG, Tim. Your video cold opening. And if you watch the video, you know what I mean by cold opening. Blew my mind. I'll talk a little bit more about that after Tim has his spiel.
Vig Ursa. Oh my goodness, this blew my mind. Is this going to be a super sexy scooter? It might be if you live in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more about that very, very soon. I actually just need it to pour down with rain. So as soon as that happens, I'm going to be reviewing the Vig Ursa.
All right, scooter heads, this is the way we're going to end this podcast. The word that you probably didn't understand that Mr. Timothy West said was YRSA. Y-R-S-A. I don't know why these scooter companies come up with these weird names. At least it's better than IQ7LSP or some of the strange things that they come up with. I like words and names. Unagi. Okay, call the scooter the Dualtron Thunder. Okay, I like that. They should be names, just like in the 70s and 80s. Cars had names, and now they're switching to a bunch of combinations and numbers and stuff. I just don't like that. I'm sorry. But you must see Timothy's video on the YRSA. Y-R-S-A. Again, the company's VIG. V-I-G. V as in Victoria. VIG. Y-R-S-A. I'm going to go with YRSA. I don't know. You call it whatever you want. Ursa. Whatever. The opening shot is Tim West standing nearly naked in an ice-cold pool of water. Pretty sure it's ocean. Holding in his arms, get this. I'm not kidding. You can go to the video and you can see it. He's holding an electric scooter in his arms, standing in ice-cold water. And if that isn't enough, which I think that is enough, somebody is throwing a bucket of water over him and the scooter. I understand it's to demonstrate that, hey, this has a high IP rating and it's really very waterproof. But I think that was a ballsy move. And I'll tell you something. I ride up and down these crazy hills that if you fall, you're in big trouble. You're tumbling over rocks, and I've taken spills, but I would not stand in a pool of water with an electric scooter and have someone dump water over me. Just me? Okay. Just something I wouldn't do. Nobody's really accused me of being a daredevil, but that is something I wouldn't do. I draw the line there. So look in the description of this podcast and you'll see the link, or go to YouTube. Just type in Timothy West or Tim's Electric, YRSA, and watch this video. I'm not going to describe it. I'm not going to play audio clips from it. Just watch it. Thank you, Tim, for your always thoughtful and considered review and your kind words for the Electric Scooter Podcast. Keep the shiny side up, the dirty side down. Always wear a helmet. Mahalo nui loa. Ua mau ke ea o ka ini ka pona. And aloha.